So today we have a purple Game Boy Color that is a bit discolored in the front, and on the back it's not so much. Over here on the lid for the battery compartment we have no corrosion, which is good, and we have some scratches on the screen itself, and the Game Boy does not have sound, which I'll show you now. I will put these batteries on and the game so you can hear what I hear, which is nothing. So let's turn it on. We should hear the beep for the Game Boy. We have it on as loud as possible and no sound at all, even from the game. Just to see if there's a problem with the board, we will use these headphones with an headphone jack, which is a rare sight these days, and we'll hear if we have any sound coming through these. I'll just put it next to the mic so you can hear. As you can see, it does the chime and also has sound on the game. So let's open it up. We will remove these 6 tri-wing screws that Nintendo uses. Here's the tri-wing screw if you don't know what it is. And we will separate the shells now to reveal the board. The board itself looks pretty clean for a Game Boy this old, which is good. And the speaker, it does show some corrosion, so that is probably the issue. Let's then remove this flex cable. We need to push the plastic bits to the back and then use this spudger to remove the flex cable for the screen. It shows a little bit of corrosion over there, so we need to clean that before we assemble it. Let's remove these 2 Phillips screws. These are Phillips screws, not tri-wings, so we can take off this motherboard. So we turn the board around, and as you can see there's a lot of corrosion inside the speaker, so this will be our issue for sure. These capacitors usually, when they are bad, they start swelling and leaking on the bottom, and nothing of that is happening here, so we'll just leave these be. Otherwise, if that happens, we would need to replace them. So less work on this refurbishment. To remove this speaker, we will need to use a bit of flux on the contacts, on the solder joints in this case, and we come in with our hot iron and our leaded solder. We will mix them together so we can then apply heat and remove the speaker. So now with a bit of heat we will just go through them and the speaker will fall off by itself. To remove this solder, we use a solder sucker along with our iron, so we can then place the new speaker on these solder joints. In this case, I will also change the shell and use this cheap shell that I found on AliExpress for €5, and here is the speaker that we will be replacing. I bought a speaker that matches this shell, which is transparent as well. So we will proceed with the speaker and then we will reshell this Game Boy and make it look new. So let's then use these little holes that we opened up to put our new speaker. They don't have polarized sides, so it's a wire on a hole the other wire on the other hole, so there's no confusion here. With the wires placed on the solder joints, let's use a bit of flux and come in with our hot iron and our leaded solder to make it go through the hole. Let's heat up the pad, then we put a bit of solder so it flows to the other side and the wires are well attached. We let it dry a little bit and now we do just a little pull to see if both of them are fixed and solid, which they are. Now with the cotton bud and a bit of IPA, we will go through and clean all the areas of this motherboard that need cleaning. Now with the toothbrush we'll go through all the motherboard to make sure to remove any residue. I removed that factory flux because it would not look good on a transparent shell. Let's avoid passing over those numbers as they are the serial numbers and may be removed with alcohol. Over here is the new shell. Let's prepare it for our new screen. So we need to clean this area with IPA and then dry it out so that we then apply the new screen and it stays on and does not come out with a bit of heat or something like that. To place the new screen, we will just need to be careful not to touch the glue and make sure to align it properly here on the shell. Then just apply a little bit of pressure. It still has a bit of alcohol on it, so we need to apply more pressure and wait a little longer until it gets fixed in place. To remove the buttons, we just pull out these rubber pads and push the buttons from the bottom. Pretty easy. I will be using the new buttons, not the old ones, because these old ones we'd needed to press them very hard for them to work. To remove the screen without breaking it from the old shell, we need to twist it a little bit to make the screen lift, and then we will need to pull from one of the sides very carefully to avoid breaking it, because it's glass and it has the polarizer as well, so to avoid any damage we need to be very careful on this part of the reshell. With the screen removed, let's put it back in place. I will not use glue because it still has this foam on top, so it will be in a bit of pressure, and if I want to for some reason remove this screen in the future, I don't need to damage it further by pulling it or applying heat. So remembering that this has a polarizer on top, this needs a little bit of clean. There's some spots on it, so let's not use any chemicals because it may damage the polarizer and the glue under it. So we just use a dry cotton bud and gently scrub until it removes these stains that it has. And with the screen in place, we start putting the buttons on the shell. So now we will place the motherboard on this new shell. The speaker, it has a way of being placed here, so these dotty, the sharp edges need to be pointing towards the top so that it's fixed in place. Once we have the speaker in place, we need to apply a little bit of pressure on this motherboard to make sure it hits the posts where the screws will be screwed on, so we don't damage either the new shell or the motherboard. We now put the new screws. These are also Phillips. 2 Phillips screws on the board. So now we will be cleaning this flex cable for the screen to remove that area with oxidation. So we need to use a bit of a IPA with a cotton swab to remove this discoloration and avoid further oxidation on this cable. We need to be careful because these may bend when we are cleaning them, so gently scrub them in order for them to be straight as possible. On this, this is the original piece that I will be using for the infrared rays, and also the original button for the on and off, because they are black and the other ones are a color of gray that seems a bit off, so I'll just use these original ones. It looks way better. We are almost finishing, so we are placing the top shell now. Let's make sure to put it straight, and the cables for the speaker need to be over the speaker so they don't get smashed by the shells. And it looks pretty cool. So let's now put the tri-wing screws. I remind you, these are brand new ones that came with the shell. And here we will try to glue the sticker as straight as possible. I'm not sure if the text on it is as the original, because the original one didn't have one. So now we will be testing to see if we have sound and if it works, obviously. So let's put the game on to test this bad boy. Let's turn it on. There we go. And yes, we have sound. And pretty clear. And this is a very simple project that anyone can do. If you have a Game Boy that is not going through any sound, just do this. It's so simple, so simple. If you have an iron, just remove the speaker and that's it. So now just a bit of gameplay. I don't know how to play this game, so just for you to see that it works. And hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to follow this guide to have a brand new Game Boy. See you soon.